Greetings to all of you, wherever you're listening from. I am Commander Bimal Raj, a TEDx speaker, internationally certified trainer and coach, mindset mentor, and a teen and parents coach. In this podcast, The Awkward Talks, I bring you topics that are usually considered taboo or are not discussed freely but are some of the most pivotal things that we should be talking about. I grew up in a colony with 5 houses, 4 of whom were Christians. This worked well for me because every Christmas we received cakes and other sweets from most of them. It was a delightful time with groups coming in to sing carols at home and the church near me having elaborate decorations to celebrate this festival. This topic is definitely not an awkward one, but a very interesting one for sure. So listen on. Now, Christmas is celebrated on 25th of December and is both a sacred religious holiday and a worldwide cultural and commercial phenomenon. For 2 millennia, people around the world have been observing it with traditions and practices that are both religious and secular in nature. Christians celebrate Christmas Day as the anniversary of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, a spiritual leader whose teachings form the basis of their religion. Popular customs include exchanging gifts, decorating Christmas trees, attending church, sharing meals with family and friends, and of course, waiting for Santa Claus to arrive. In fact, December 25th, the Christmas Day, has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1870. However, interestingly, there was a period of time in my life where I followed the faith. For more than a decade, I used to attend Sunday service and study the Bible rigorously. That was the time I came to know a lot of facts about Christmas that I was blissfully unaware of. In this podcast, I discuss the things that I discovered about this festive season. Remember that all this in no way has diminished my excitement or love for this wonderful festival called Christmas. Well, the fact is that the middle of winter has long been a time of celebration around the world. Centuries before the arrival of the man called Jesus, early Europeans celebrated light in the darkest days of winter. Many people rejoiced during the winter solstice when the worst of winter was behind them and they could look forward to longer days and extended hours of sunlight. At that time of the year, most cattle were slaughtered so they would not have to be fed during the winter. For many, it was the only time of the year when they had a supply of fresh meat. In addition, most wine and beer made during the year was finally fermented and ready for drinking. In Scandinavia, the Norse celebrated Yule from December 25th, the winter solstice, through January. In recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs which they would set on fire. The people would feast until the log burnt out, which could take as many as 12 days. In Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin during the midwinter holiday. Germans were terrified of Odin as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people and then decide who would prosper or perish. In Rome, winters were not as harsh as those in the far north. Therefore, they celebrated Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. This celebration started in the week leading up to the winter solstice and continued for a full month. One of the hallmarks of Saturnalia was a tradition of gift giving and merrymaking when food and drink were plentiful, and the normal Roman social order was turned upside down. For a month, enslaved people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Business and schools were closed so that everyone could participate in the holidays' festivities. Romans also observed Juvenalia, a festival honoring the children of Rome. In addition, members of the upper classes often celebrated the birthday of Mithra, the god of the unconquerable sun, on December 25th. The first historic record of this holiday is a calendar dating from 354 CE belonging to a rich Roman Christian named Philocalus. This calendar also tells us that on the same day, December 25th, another holiday was celebrated marking the birth of Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. That was a new pagan cult worshipping a new sun deity. It is commonly believed that the church chose this date in an effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagan Saturnalia festival. By holding Christmas on the same time as traditional winter solstice festivals, Church leaders increased the chances that Christmas would be popularly embraced, but gave up the ability to dictate how it was celebrated. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had, for the most part, replaced pagan religion. Therefore, December 25th in reality has nothing to do with the birth of Jesus Christ. In fact, the birth date or time of Christ is not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. Let's talk about Christmas trees now. The tree tradition that we are accustomed to today hails from Northern Europe, where Germanic pagan tribes decorated evergreen trees in worship of the god Woden with candles and dried fruit. The tradition was incorporated into the Christian faith in Germany during the 1500s. They decorated their trees in their homes with sweets, lights, and toys. Evergreen trees remained green during the coldest and darkest days, so they were thought to hold special powers. The Romans also decorated their temples with fir trees during Saturnalia and decorated them with bits of metal. When the Germanic tribes adopted Christianity and with it the holiday of Christmas, they too contributed to the traditions of the holiday by incorporating aspects of the pagan winter festival Yule into the Christian holiday. Most notable of these are the veneration of evergreens, which would with time morph into the Christmas tree, the traditions of holly and mistletoe decoration, and a wild hunt of flying creatures led by the long-bearded god Odin, who is believed to have been the prototype of Santa Claus. Let's talk about Santa Claus now. The origin of Santa Claus is said to have Christian roots, being inspired by Saint Nicholas. He was born in southern Turkey around 280 AD and was a bishop in the early Christian church and suffered persecution and imprisonment for his faith. He was from a very wealthy family and he was known for his generosity towards the poor. The most famous story about him was how he saved 3 daughters from being sold to slavery. There was no dowry to entice any man to marry them, so it was their father's last resort. Saint Nicholas is said to have tossed gold through an open window into the home to save them being sold. Legend says that the gold landed in a sock drying by the fire. So children started hanging stockings by their fires in hopes that Saint Nicholas would toss gifts into them. In honor of his passing, 6th December was declared as Saint Nicholas Day. As time went on, each European culture adapted versions of Saint Nicholas. In Swiss and German cultures, Christkind or Christkindl accompanied Saint Nicholas to deliver presents to well-behaved children. In Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Lorraine, France and other parts of Germany, he was known as Santa Claus. According to tradition, Santa Claus would come from Spain on a steamboat accompanied by a mischievous Moorish helper. Now this helper would kidnap bad children and report to Santa Claus on good children, who would then receive gifts on 6th of December, which was Santa Claus feast day. Later, during the Reformation, the gift-giving associated with Santa Claus migrated from December 6th to December 25th, and Santa Claus later became Santa Claus in the US. Also around this time, English author Charles Dickens created a classic holiday tale, A Christmas Carol, in 1843. The story's message, the importance of charity and goodwill towards all humankind, struck a powerful chord in the United States and England. It showed members of the Victorian society the benefits of celebrating the holiday and gave it much of the qualities we associate with it today. A holiday centered around family as opposed to as a community holiday celebrated in a church. The book also contributed to the popularity of the phrase Merry Christmas, which appears many times throughout it. That very same year, the first commercially printed Christmas cards were printed and sold, bearing the wish, Merry Christmas. Meanwhile, in 1823, the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement Clarke Moore was published in the United States. This contributed to the spread of Santa Claus as well. Many of the most popular Christmas carols were written and composed in the 19th century. In 1818, Silent Night was originally written in German. In 1847, O Holy Night was originally written in French. Also, two of the most popular carols, Joy to the World and Jingle Bells, were written in English in 1839 and 1857 respectively. Well, Christmas has seen a lot of transformations along the way. From being rowdy and raucous in the Middle Ages, from being banned in Boston from 1659 to 1681, to being a federal holiday in the United States on June 26, 1870. Well, I personally see Christmas as a secular festival. It's more about families coming together, parents plan surprise gifts for children, sharing stories about Santa Claus, triggering imagination and creativity in them. They also work together to decorate the Christmas tree and so much more. This is a time of goodwill and cheer where most people make sure that they are nicer to each other. I have a lot of beautiful childhood memories associated with this festival. So this episode was more to give you a better understanding of the origins of this wonderful festival called Christmas, which most people are unaware of. Now, if you like this episode, please do rate it. Please don't forget to click the follow button so that you don't miss any of our episodes. Do share this with your friends. I'm sure most of them are unaware of these interesting facts. This is Commander Bimal Raj, and I will be back with another episode very soon.